Hello guys, and welcome back to the channel. In the recent episode of Ahsoka, we've had Ezra Bridger make his grand return and meet back up with Sabine and Ahsoka Tano. After this, there was a big fight between Ezra and the many stormtroopers that accompanied Shin at the behest of Thrawn. Within the fight, we had a chance to see what Ezra has been up to and his development in combat, and the result was a little bit shocking. To everyone's surprise, Ezra refused to use his lightsaber when it was offered to him by Sabine, not even hesitating to turn Sabine down when she tried to give it up. It wasn't as if she was without a weapon at the time, had she given it to him since she still used her blasters instead to start the fight. Ezra, though, decided to use his martial arts and the Force as his ally to take out the stormtroopers. While this is a noble desire, his utilization of the Force is not really up to par to be without a lightsaber yet. So why exactly did Ezra make this strange decision? Of all of the time he spent in Rebels trying to build and perfect his use of the lightsaber, what caused Ezra to just throw it all away? Well, we may have the answer, and we also believe that Ezra is completely wrong for it, and that he may have made a big mistake. So let's get right into it and break it all down. The first reason that we're told why Ezra refuses the lightsaber is that he states that it now belongs to Sabine and that she should keep it. While this is a nice sentiment and is a callback to him giving her his lightsaber during the final battle of Lothal, it was ultimately a baseless response. He clearly could have just used it for that battle and hand it back to her right after if he really wanted to. Jedi use lightsabers that aren't theirs all the time if the moment is necessary. Both Anakin and Obi-Wan received temporary lightsabers during the Battle of Geonosis, and exchanged them freely in the duel against Dooku. And again, Sabine didn't even bother to use the lightsaber at first anyway, instead using her blasters. But we can at least use this one line to lead us down the thought pattern of why Ezra refused the lightsaber, and the reason is quite simple. It does not belong to him. Not in the obvious sense of Ezra gifting it to Sabine, but within the realm of the Force, where the allegiance of the Kyber crystal is concerned. The saber does not belong to Ezra, and therefore would have been a bit out of his core to wield it. You see, Jedi imprint on their Kyber crystal that chooses them. The moment they interact with it, and it responds to them, they become aligned, in a sense forming a bond within the Force. That's what makes a lightsaber become an extension of the Jedi and the Force itself. The connection. A Jedi can use a lightsaber that isn't aligned to them just fine, but it's awkward and it doesn't feel quite right. Not to mention Kyber crystals can actually change their allegiances. It has been 10 whole years since Ezra so much as touched his lightsaber. During that time, it's been in Sabine's possession, and she's not only been training with it much longer, but she's also gone so far as to make her own modifications to it. Huyang mentioned that it was indeed her own lightsaber now, even if she didn't believe that it was. In the most basic of terms, Ezra had fully sensed that the Kyber crystal had turned against him and was now bonded to Sabine, and it's likely that Ezra doesn't mind this, considering that the crystal within the lightsaber was never his to begin with. But what exactly do we mean about this? After Ezra's first lightsaber was destroyed by the Dark Lord Vader on Malachor, Ezra was forced to build a second one. But with this, he had to make some changes that he did not want to originally make. The blue lightsaber he had contained the Kyber crystal that he himself had imprinted on. While we don't know where this green crystal for the second lightsaber came from, it's highly unlikely that Ezra went all the way back for another crystal. It's far more likely that Ezra found the green crystal through a network of black market dealers or by some other method. The point is, the crystal was already green when Ezra found it, and that's not Ezra's color. It was a Kyber crystal that once belonged to someone else, and Ezra never truly bonded with it. While the color of one's lightsaber crystal might change over time, Ezra couldn't have undergone such a dramatic change within just half a year's time. Not to mention, green just doesn't belong to Ezra. Green is the traditional color of the Jedi Consular, those who seek deeper connections with the Force and have a mind that looks to the more cosmic and internal applications of this life energy. Blue is the color of a Jedi Guardian, those who are more focused on the physical applications of the Force and who have a will to have the Force guide them in a more hands-on way. That's not to say that a Guardian can't wield a green blade or a Consular can't have a blue one, but these are simply the representational meanings behind these colors and what they say about the Jedi who wields them. While Ezra has had encounters with the high concept nature of the Force, he is definitely one who exemplifies the qualities of a Guardian better than almost anybody else. This is important because of what Luke Skywalker said about wielding a blade that was not your own, and the importance of connecting to your Kyber crystal. For a little while after the events of Cloud City and his defeat at the hand of Vader, Luke adopted a yellow lightsaber that he retrieved from a High Republic Jedi temple. It was one half of a temple guard's saber pike in half, and after the crystal cracked and became unstable, Luke would mention that he wasn't sorry for losing this new yellow crystal. This was because it was awkward and difficult to wield to a certain extent. Luke mentioned that back when he had his father's blue lightsaber, he definitely felt a connection to it, but something was still off. Something not quite right about the crystal. Yes, Anakin's saber was beholden to the Skywalker bloodline, but make no mistake, it was Anakin's lightsaber first and foremost, not Luke's. Neither one of these crystals, the yellow or blue, were the colors that represented Luke Skywalker. Anakin was driven by desire to change the galaxy and defend the innocent. He was driven by his ambition to make sure that no one would suffer the way that his mother did, and of course, his own drive to make a family. While Luke was originally enraptured by the idea of adventure and zealously defending his friends, that changed once he realized what it truly meant to become a Jedi. Make no mistake, he would still do anything for his friends, but his goals were that of peace and harmony. The Force called to him in a deeper way, and he decided to see that path to completion. Thus, the true color of a consular was revealed to Luke. The lightsaber turned green. Luke can't betray himself by wanting to always pursue the path of a guardian, and Ezra cannot betray himself by trying to ignore his tendencies towards the path of guarding those that he loves. But moving on, we also believe that Ezra didn't want to take the lightsaber because of a choice to pursue the Force more deeply. He desires to become a more spiritual Force wielder as allying himself with the Force as his only weapon, furthering his arc at the ending of Rebels, where he wants to let go of his hatred for the Empire and seek more deeply into the ideas of detachment, as he did when he let Kanan, as well as his parents, go. This is all very noble, and definitely the right way, but it is ultimately misguided when you realize what it truly means to wield a lightsaber and the path to change. We can tell that Ezra is not entirely against violence, as he took up a blaster against the stormtroopers during the fight. The idea to go more spiritual in the saberless way sounds lofty and wise. Up until further inspection though, it actually shows Ezra's ignorance more than anything else. Refusing to use a weapon doesn't make you peaceful, it makes you harmless, which is something that Ezra should have discovered the moment he came within the proximity of Shin. The notion that a lightsaber is only a tool to kill and destroy is ultimately incorrect, and it shows a fundamental lack of understanding of the Jedi weapon. Canon Luke Skywalker would make this same mistake by believing that the lightsaber was only an instrument of death, but even he saw the error of his ways after his physical death. If we want to know what a lightsaber truly means, all we have to do is look to the explanation given to us by Obi-Wan Kenobi. Anakin had asked a question that is directly opposite to this, which was why the Jedi didn't use more weapons with Kyber technology, especially when they had the capability to develop them. But this is what Obi-Wan said to the young boy. We do not want to be powerful. We wish to stand tall against the dark. Our tools reflect that same goal, especially our chosen weapon. We all wield the same one with minor variations. We could make Kyber bombs or blasters. It's been tried. There are a few weapons like that in the sealed archives, but anyone can fire a blaster. Very few can safely and skillfully wield a lightsaber. Everyone in the galaxy knows this to be true. We want our opponents to know that we use a weapon that requires intention, training, precision, and choice. The lightsaber symbolizes the care with which we approach our gifts through the Force, and care with which we wield them. It reminds others that while we could do more, we very purposefully do not. This brings us back to Ezra's true path. He exemplifies what it means to be a guardian most perfectly, and a guardian will need their lightsaber. Luke would later say that it was the idea and authority behind the lightsaber that gave its strength to the wider galaxy, not so much what it was actually capable of. One day, Ezra will likely construct another lightsaber more aligned to him, a crystal likely more aligned to himself. And with Ezra, Luke, and Ahsoka, they each represent a different part of the Jedi: the powerful guardian, the wise consular, and Ahsoka the Ronin, the preserver of light. But anyway, my friends, thank you so much for visiting our archives. What are your thoughts on this? And as always, may the Force be with you.